Hi guys, this is jsandmon.com and I'm here with the Samsung Galaxy A5, one of the most beautiful Samsung phones we've ever reviewed. The handset is at the middle of the Galaxy A series between the A3 and A7. The series was started with the Galaxy Alpha that we already reviewed, and this product, the Samsung Galaxy A5, was announced in October 2014. It was launched in December 2014 and the price tag is right now around $500, at least on Samsung UK's website. This is a mid-range phone with a classy design based on metal. So we're dealing with a phone that has a metal unibody case, pretty slim at 6.7 millimeters. It weighs 123 grams, it has a 5-inch screen at the front, and it has a clear and minimalist design. It adopts a rectangular format with slightly rounded corners, and it also has not very narrow bezels. According to the modern standards, the bezels could have been just a bit smaller. A good thing is that the edges will not cut into your skin, your finger skin. The Galaxy Alpha and the Galaxy Note 4 tended to cut into your skin a bit, but this one doesn't. Okay, so the versions of the phone, the color versions are pretty cool. We got white, blue, gold, black, silver and pink. The device has a pretty solid frame, a good grip, and it has an excellent one-hand use. It's very well proportioned and it's very easy to access every area of the screen you want with a single finger, so that's very easy. Okay, the back of this unit is matte, as you can see in this case, and at the front, if you look closely, I doubt you'll see it, but there is a dotted pattern here below the glass with a slight glitter on it. At the front we have the front camera, got a bunch of sensors here, we got the earpiece, we obviously have the physical home button next to it, the back button, capacitive button, and the recent button, also capacitive. Moving on at the back, main camera, LED flash that's pretty strong, and speaker, which is a pretty odd placement for it. At the top, just a microphone here. At the bottom we got another microphone, micro USB port and audio jack. On the left side, a very slim volume button with good feedback, while on the right there's the on-off button, also with good feedback, and two slots. One of them is the nano SIM card slot and the other one is the micro SD card slot. On the dual SIM version of the phone, both are nano SIM card slots as far as I know. Okay, so you need a metal key to access both of them, and it comes bundled with the phone. You saw that in the unboxing. Overall, the Samsung Galaxy A5 has a pretty solid and elegant design, and it gets rid of the imperfections that the Galaxy Alpha had. On the hardware side, we start off with a 5-inch Super AMOLED screen with 720p resolution. The CPU inside the phone, well, it's a quad-core Snapdragon 410. This one is a 1.2 GHz CPU with Cortex A53 cores, and it's a 64-bit processor, just in case you were wondering. The GPU is an Adreno 306, there's 16 GB of storage and 2 gigs of RAM available on this device. The micro SD card slot does up to 64 GB in extra storage. The back camera is a 13 megapixel unit with autofocus and LED flash, while the front camera is a 5 megapixel shooter. As far as the connectivity is concerned, we get ANT Plus for fitness devices, micro USB 2.0, GPS GLONASS, and there is no MHL in case you're wondering, there is no DLNA. We got Wi-Fi ABGN, dual band, Bluetooth 4.0, NFC, LTE and FM radio. As far as I know, LTE is available here in category 4 version. The sensors include an accelerometer, geomagnetic sensor, Hall sensor, proximity sensor, RGB sensor, and there is no notification LED as far as we know. The battery available on this model is a lithium ion unit with a capacity of 2300 mAh. On paper, the battery should provide you with 8 hours of 3G internet, 11 hours of Wi-Fi internet, 12 hours of video playback, or 15 hours of talk time. In our test, that usually has to do with HD video playback in a loop with Wi-Fi on and brightness of 50%, we achieved 9 hours of full video playback, which is quite good, I have to say. For comparison's sake, the Galaxy S5 achieves 11 hours, Nexus 5 hours, and the Galaxy Alpha 7 hours. We also had a PC Mark test on this model, and in the PC Mark test that involves continuous usage, like playing a game all the time and using the handset to make a phone all the time, basically strenuous usage on the phone, we achieved 6 hours and 51 minutes with the brightness set to 200 lux, which is a very good result considering the OnePlus One scores 5 hours and 15 minutes, the Huawei Honor 6 3 hours and 35 minutes, so I would say we're doing fine. The charging is also good. It takes 1 hour and 45 minutes to get this model from 0% to 100%, which is very okay. Overall, a very good battery. And we continue the adventure in the settings area, where we find power saving with the usual Samsung options from the past years. We got power saving mode. Once activated, allows you to restrict background data, restrict performance, either by disabling vibration feedback, turning off the screen after 3 seconds, limiting CPU performance, screen output, turning off the touch key light, the GPS, or you can choose to activate the grayscale mode, make the whole interface black and white, and then there does little special something called ultra power saving mode. Once you activate this, basically with 70% you get about a week of usage, with 10% you get about 1 day of usage. It will change the color of the screen and only allow access to the basic features of the phone. So this is the ultra power saving mode. It offers access to phone, messages and a few other apps and settings that you will set up, and totally extends the battery life of your phone. It's used for emergency mostly. If you're in a jungle, in a forest and you need a phone, this one comes in very handy. So that's the ultra power saving mode in a nutshell. Now as far as the acoustics are concerned, let me just find the custom Samsung music player with the usual Samsung interface. We got organization in playlists, tracks, albums, artists, folders and devices. And other stuff we're mentioning here is that we got that music square that organizes music by moods, passionate, exciting, joyful or calm. You can also access the settings area where you can find music organization, sound alike, which is basically the equalizer with options like auto, a setup depending on the music type, music genre, some effects like tube amp, virtual 7.1, small room, large room, concert hall, or focusing on some instruments like instrument, treble, vocal or bass. Then there's the advanced mode with 7 sliders that will tweak your experience and options for 3D, bass and clarity, plus the same options as before. So a lot of customization in the area of equalizers. We got adapt sound that sets you up for a new pair of headphones, play speed, music auto off, lyrics and smart volume that adjusts each track's volume to the level of the track before. Okay, so those were the options available on the device. Now as far as the actual playback is concerned, let's listen to some tunes. Okay, so I just showed you that there's no muffling on a flat surface. There is actually a bit of amplification going on. I would say that the speaker at the back offers a reasonably loud experience, not very loud, just reasonably loud. The sound is clear, we got good high notes, an okay bass, and the sound is pretty much clean. We also have a nifty pair of headphones bundled. If you ask me, it's the same pair of headphones that came with the Galaxy Note 4, the Galaxy K Zoom and Galaxy Alpha. Here we are with a slightly cylindrical shape. They're comfy in the user's ear, they have good sound isolation, and this pretty long wire, a pretty big remote for current standards with volume button and play pause button. You insert them right here. They're made of plastic as far as we know. The sound they offer is clear, crisp, loud. The bass is very good, I will highlight that, very good. And since we have the headphones, we might as well go to the FM radio part of the experience, which should be here somewhere, with a custom UI offered by Samsung. Once you start it up, it starts looking for stations automatically. Theoretically, you can play via speaker, select the stations, do some recordings and check out the settings. You can even show radio text switch to internet radio, and record. There is a little button in there. Okay, so that was the radio experience in a nutshell. And once again, very good bass coming from the headphones. We have a decibel meter here at gsndon.com, and we usually rely on it to see how good are the speakers. So at the back of the phone we achieved 77 decibels, not very impressive. At the front we achieved 77.6 decibels using the decibel meter. What this tells us is that the handset is not very loud. Galaxy Alpha goes up to 83 decibels, iPhone 6 85 decibels. Overall it could be a bit louder, but at least the sound is crisp and the headphones are pretty much flawless. I have to say that the speaker placement right here next to the camera is a bit strange. Now, as far as this beautiful display is concerned, we're dealing with a Super AMOLED 5-inch screen with a 720p resolution and 294 ppi density. The screen shows 16 million colors, and now as far as the video player is concerned, we got this one right here with a pretty minimalistic user interface and the ability to see what's on other devices. And now let's actually see a video sample. Let's turn down the volume a bit, and now let's check out the options and settings over here. So first of all, you can change the aspect ratio. We got pop-up play, that's been available for a long while now, so you can do other activities while moving around your video. You can check your email, access the internet, and then get back to your video in full screen mode. Other things worth noting here is the fact that we got studio to edit the video, share, listen via Bluetooth, subtitles, and settings. Settings include mini controller, brightness, capture, play speed, sound alive, which is basically the acoustic setup of the video. And then we got play speed, AMOLED cinema, and tag body. AMOLED cinema makes the experience more vivid. As you can see, even the menu is affected by that. AMOLED cinema makes the colors much more vibrant, and this is with the video with it on. And there will be a huge difference once we deactivate it. As you can see, it feels a bit washed out, but still the colors are more realistic this way. Okay, now as far as the actual experience is concerned, we got vivid colors, still a bit of oversaturation in the AMOLED cinema mode. We got wide viewing angles. As usual for the Super AMOLED, the blacks are perfect. We got great contrast, great sunlight behavior, the screen is crisp, and there is low reflectivity even in sunlight or artificial light. We're dealing here with a configuration that involves pentile matrix pixels, and as usual we use the lux meter and a microscope to figure out what's behind the screen. And here you can see the pixel setup. This is the pentile matrix that we're dealing with here. And then we measure the lux level with very impressive results. So the basic level with the brightness level to the maximum without the auto option on, we achieved 370 lux units. However, if we did something like this, pressed auto and don't use those +5 and also expose the sensor to an artificial very bright light, we achieved a huge 574 lux units. And meanwhile the Galaxy Alpha had 454 lux, Galaxy S5 480 lux, and iPhone 6 570 lux. So we even managed to beat the iPhone 6 with our 574 lux. This means the screen is very bright, very crisp, and it looks just fine. In the settings area, in the place that's related to display and wallpaper, you can find the brightness, wallpaper, themes. You also can find font, style or size. We got one-handed operation. It's very easy. You can trigger it with a motion like this, and everything becomes smaller and easier to use in this area. It's basically like using a 4-inch phone or even less. There's smart stay, screen timeout, screen mode. We got adaptive display that will automatically optimize its color choice and vibrancy depending on the situation, depending on the gallery, video player, music player, or whatever you're doing. We got AMOLED cinema, that's a bit too vivid. AMOLED photo a bit less vivid, and basic that feels washed out compared to those two, but in the end it's actually more realistic. We got auto adjust screen tone that adjusts the screen brightness based on the on-screen image to save power, and finally daydream and touch key light duration. Overall the screen is excellent, truly a piece of work. 574 4 lux on the screen, very bright, very crisp, excellent viewing angles, and aside from the oversaturation that can be deactivated, no objection here. Now the camera, well, this one is a 13 megapixel shooter. It has the same sensor as the Galaxy S4, the Note 3 and the LG G2. It has f2.0 aperture and the sensor is a Sony Exmor RS IMX135. It's a CMOS sensor that measures 1/3 of an inch. The pixels here are 1.1 micron pixels. The same camera offers a 28mm lens and the sensor is a 4:3:1. At the front we have a 5 megapixel camera with 1/5 of an inch sensor size. It's a CMOS sensor, it's made by Samsung. It offers 1.1 micron pixels, 23mm lens and f2.2 aperture, plus it's a 4:3 sensor as well. Now as far as the camera UI is concerned, we're getting the usual Samsung treatment here, which means minimalistic and black and white. We got this castle here and the options are as follows. We got the front camera shortcut, flash options, and the settings split in two. We got this simple mode here where we can set up the resolution in 13 megapixels in 4:3 or 9.6 megapixels in 16:9. We got the effects that you can play with. We got the timer and flash options yet again. And then there is the more ample settings mode with options like exposure value, ISO, white balance, metering modes, tap to take pictures, video size, only Full HD, HD and VGA, recording mode, normal or MMS, location tags, grid lines, voice control, volume key settings, review pics and reset all the settings. So that's what you're playing with here. On the right side we got video capture, shutter for the pictures and modes that include auto, rear cam selfie, panorama, night, animated GIF, sports and sound and shot, and those are all of them. The download section doesn't include extras for now. In the front camera area you will find a variety of options. You'll also find settings that allow you to move your palm in front of you in order to take a shot, or beautify your face, your eyes and other options. And we also have the resolution here, a few more options like palm selfie, recording, save as flipped, and the modes that include wide selfie, night, sound and shot and more. Wide selfie allows you to take a wider selfie, sort of like a mini panorama, and include other people in the selfie. Okay, we get 4x zoom with this camera, pretty fluid zoom, and a fast focus. As you can see, you can focalize pretty fast. And speaking of fast, picture taking is also reasonably fast. Here we go, that's the picture I've just taken. Very good level of detail and very good brightness, plus there's no noise at all even when zooming in a few times. Okay, that was it. That was the initial test of the camera. Now it's time to get to the gallery and check out the shots we've taken during daylight and even inside. Okay, it was a sunny March day and I have to say we got realistic colors, good level of detail, nice hues of blue and good lighting. In case you're wondering, this is not a sample that involves HDR. This phone doesn't have HDR. We simply played with the exposure in order to highlight this clock. Some more shots. Once again, very good level of detail. However, if you get indoors, you start to notice some noise and some blurriness. However, if you are outdoors, everything looks stunning, and check it out. So this is the basic picture. You cannot even see the statues, but if I start zooming in, it takes a long while till the noise appears, and that's a huge compliment for this device. Very nice shadows. This is a very wide panorama with good stitching, nice brightness and no artifacts, so we can only praise that. I have to say we get good contrast, good exposure and good white balance, as well as good shadows once again. Obviously the colors also look nice, not only on the phone that may be oversaturated, but also on the PC, so no problem with the colors here. Pictures have a very nice texture, and especially objects that are made of marble or statues or things like that are very well caught here. This time we're in the shadows with a source of light behind us, and still the pics came out okay. I noticed a tendency to trigger shots that are very nice for billboards and posters. This time we're indoors. The first shot was good, but the second shot was blurry, as you can see. Apparently artificial light seems to affect the quality of the shots quite a bit. Yet some more blurriness. If you take your time to focus on the subject and get close to it, the pictures will become a bit better. However, if you try to take quick macros, you won't be able to do that. Here we tried to take a close-up of the statue. It came out pretty blurry, not exactly detailed. Basically, you have to take a few attempts if you want to trigger a nice macro. You're better off taking landscape shots of objects that are far away. This is the sunset sun. Very nice hues we got here. And this is not an HDR, if you can believe it. It's simply the camera taking a good sunset shot. Some more colors. Outdoor shots look great. We even triggered the GIF. We tried one more GIF here. And these were a series of attempts to create a proper macro, close-up, blurry, blurry, and blurry. So we actually have problems when taking macros. We simply cannot take them. In spite of that, I will have to say that the camera is very good. The focus is good. We take decent selfies. We got good colors. We got a good level of detail. Overall, it's about on the same level as the Galaxy S4. Now, as far as the videos are concerned, let's start off with this one. Full HD MP4, 30 frames per second, 17 megapixel bitrate, and very crisp quality and good acoustics. So once again, very crisp, good colors, realistic colors, good focus and stabilization, good acoustics and good lighting. So what more can one want? One more shot in difficult conditions. The sun was behind us, shadow all around us, and this is it. A lot of moving subjects. Once again, a lot of moving subjects, a lot of cars. Good exposure, nice moving objects, and good stabilization. And then comes a video that involves the sunset with some very nice textures and colors. Good focus here, very fluid zoom as you can see, good contrast, and in a minute you'll see the zoom in quality being kept. Basically, after seeing these videos, you can easily assume that this is a handset that handles concerts very well. As you just saw, we zoomed in fluidly and the level of detail was not lost, so that's fine. Overall, it's a very good camera. It surpassed my expectations. It's clearly better than the one on the Galaxy Alpha that disappointed me during a concert. And aside from the inside shots and macro attempts we didn't make, everything is basically perfect. You can also do a bit of editing. Pick a picture, press this button. We're in the studio area now. We got options like adjustment, tone, contrast, saturation, red, green, blue, effects, portrait, decoration with stamps, stickers, label and all that. And obviously you can also mess around with the videos. Studio and video trimmer. And that's what you can play with. Theoretically, you should also be able to play more with this vid, but some studios are not available because of the number of files. Okay, so that's the video editing part and photo editing part. Now let's get to the performance. First of all, I want to talk about the temperature. So after playing 15 minutes of the game Riptide GP2 with 3D graphics, we achieved 35.5 degrees Celsius, which is very okay for this phone. It's a very cool handset, it doesn't get hot. It's one of the coolest we've actually tested with a thermometer. Now, as far as the web browser is concerned, I'm just going to go ahead and use the stock internet browser on the device, so-called stock for Samsung, not for Android. So let's load up gsndom.com. Here we go. The browser is very fast, as you can see. The scrolling works just fine, pinch to zoom works like a charm, and this is what the website looks like in landscape mode. Once again, very fast, the text is very crisp on the screen, and everything looks nice. Now, as far as the input is concerned, we get here a pretty nifty keyboard that has a numeric row at the top. It's very intuitive to use, and we also have some extra input methods like handwriting. Okay, so you can actually select if you want to input letters or numbers. As far as I know, this is for the numbers and this is for the letters. So that's handwriting, and you can also use vocal command or stick to the virtual keyboard. Very well spaced, very comfy, and no objection as far as the input goes. In the phone area, I have to say that the talks will go on without background noise, so the voice is very clear and the calls are very crisp. However, the signal is at about 80% the whole time, so it's not exactly 100% signal, but that doesn't affect phone calls. The experience is loud and clear. However, signal is not at the maximum level in case you wanted that. And now if you want to see the settings associated to calling and stuff, call rejection, pop-ups, alerts, accessories, more settings, hide my video, call forwarding, call barring and all that. So overall, good noise cancelling. Now as far as the benchmarks go, I decided to compare the Samsung Galaxy A5 to the Motorola Moto G 2014 and HTC Desire 816. Those two have a Snapdragon 400 processor. This one has a Snapdragon 410, and we wanted to see just how much the processor has evolved. So let's go to the benchmarks. Start with quadrant. In quadrant we scored 11,868. The Moto G 2014 has 8,800, while the HTC Desire 816 has 12,736. Meanwhile, in Antutu, we got a score of 21,082, while the Moto G 2014 has 18,200 points, and the HTC Desire 816 21,272. In Nanomark 2, we had a score of 54 frames per second. We didn't find the Moto G 2014 score, and HTC Desire 816 58 frames per second. Next up is Velamo, where we use the stock internet browser to check out the performance. We achieved 2041 points, while the Moto G 2014 has 1660 and the HTC Desire 816 has 1429. 3D Mark brought on a few pretty unimpressive results. You can see them here, and in the Ice Storm test we got 5233, in the Unlimited 4330, and in the Extreme test 2624. Meanwhile, Moto G 2014 had 4600 points in the Unlimited test, so it beat us, while the HTC Desire 816 4832, so it beat us yet again. We also did the Geekbench test, where we fared better. We scored 476 in the single core test and 1431 in the multi-core test. Moto G 2014 340 over 1170, HTC Desire 816 436 over 1416. In GFX, we scored 5.3 frames per second in the T-Rex 1080p off-screen test, and meanwhile the Moto G 2014 had 5.8 frames and the same score for the HTC Desire model. We also tested the speed, 24 megabits/second download, 21 megabits/second upload via Wi-Fi. HTC Desire 816 had 21 and 22 respectively. In browser mark, the score was 1282, while the Moto G 2014 had 1080 and HTC Desire 816 had 625, so we beat them. Finally, SunSpider, the lower the better. This is the area where we achieved 1357 and we beat the Moto G 2014 and it's 1530 and HTC Desire 816 and it's 1542. Basically, this model wins 5 out of the 10 benchmarks. It's very possible that this 64-bit CPU may be running at 32 bits, and the future, maybe with a Lollipop update, it will reach its full 64-bit potential. So other than that, I would have to say we don't have any lag on this model. Of course, aside from the usual slight lag that TouchWiz involves. As you know, Samsung's TouchWiz interface is not the fastest in the world, and that can be felt. In spite of that, we can easily run a game with 3D graphics, such as Riptide GP2, that we'll have to find here somewhere. It's a benchmark game, it has 3D graphics, it looks nice, some cool illuminating effects and water effects. And here we go. Loads up pretty fast. Nice illumination, nice water, and of course it runs without a trace of lag. Crisp colors, obviously. Once again, if you're actually looking for lag, you'll rather find it in the home screens while flipping to screens, as usual for TouchWiz. However, you really have to be a picky person to find that lag, because you almost can feel it. Okay, so that was the gaming experience. Now it's time to discuss OS and UI. Let's see what we're dealing with here. So this is a handset that comes with Android 4.4.4 KitKat with TouchWiz on top. It's basically the same TouchWiz interface that was present on the Galaxy Note 4, and we got a carousel multitask. This one may not be lollipop, but still we get a carousel experience. You swipe them like this, or you close them all by pressing a single button. Other than that, if you pinch the home screen, you'll see wallpapers. You can also see the widgets, most of them customized, accompanied by some stock widgets, some of them pretty interesting. Then we got home screen settings that include transitions and Flipboard that can be activated or deactivated, and then we got themes. Okay, so speaking of Flipboard, to the leftmost area of the home screens is this home screen dedicated to Flipboard that can show you news, business, technology, sports, celebrity, science, entertainment, style, food or travel after you select a series of interest. Okay, other than that, the interface is colorful and a bit flat, especially if you look in the settings area. It's pretty pleasing on the user's eye. In the drop-down area, you will find these quick settings here: the brightness slider, the auto for the brightness slider, the S Finder that's able to find stuff on the device and on the web. Then we got something called Quick Connect, allowing you to quickly connect and send content to other devices, as you just saw in this small tutorial. And we continue the analysis of the drop-down area with notifications, and then we go to the full quick settings here. We got ultra power saving, multi-window, flight mode, sync, everything can be customized, and then we'll have to have a look at the settings area. At the top of the screen you will find the quick settings that are obviously customizable. As you can see here, you can edit them, pick the ones that matter the most to you and place them at the top here. Then come the connectivity settings, and let's see what else. You also have a search button here, a search window, which is very good because there are a lot of settings to play with. And we find something here, it's the multi-window mode that once activated is simply triggered by pressing the back button, keeping it pressed. So for example, you can go to the Galaxy apps, make it full screen, open up the internet browser and make it occupy half of the screen. Okay, so right now we're in this multi-window mode. We have two windows on the screen. You can flip them around, as you can see here, and you can transfer content between them. So if you want to transfer, for example, a bit of text from here to here, you should be able to do that, theoretically at least. So if I want the text to be in this area here, let's try it out and try and drop it here. Well, it searched it up on Google, so I transferred that text to that area. So you get my point, you can transfer content from one window to the other. We continue the analysis of the settings area. Multi-window mode was checked out, and next up we got notification panel that's customizable. We got motions and gestures that include smart alert, that's pretty clearly shown here. Then we got mute pause. You can place the palm on the screen to mute notification or an alert, or you can take a screenshot by swiping the screen with your palm. Other settings include cloud and backup settings. There's an easy mode for the elderly and for the children, if you ask me. That's its use. Basically it makes everything bigger, all the icons, it makes them into tiles, much more accessible. We got accessibility here for improved vision and hearing and dexterity and interaction. Then we got blocking mode. This is basically a do not disturb mode. It blocks all incoming calls, notification, alarm and timer if you don't want to be bothered from a certain period of time to the other. Then there's private mode. If you want to hide away certain pictures and files, you can hide the content and have it not show up among your other files. We got language and input, accessories, power saving obviously, security, including some encryption features, remote controls and all that, and that's pretty much it as far as the settings and interface are concerned. Now, as far as the pre-installed apps are concerned, this handset is branded Telecom. It has a lot of bloatware from that carrier, but let's try to steer away from it and check out the apps. We've got AccuWeather pre-installed. Seems to be a bit laggy. Okay, and then we've got the calculator, Chrome, ClickShop. We've got Google Drive, Dropbox, email, Flipboard obviously, Foodpanda, and Samsung's own app store, Galaxy apps, with a ton of apps to play with, recommendations, games, top apps, apps for children, and some more funky stuff. Usually 99% of the stuff you also find in the Play Store. Then we got Gallery, we got Gmail, Google+, Hangouts, Info and Play Club from Telecom, we got Google Maps. That seems to be working pretty fine and without lag, and it's finding us pretty fast. And then we got Memo, which does exactly what the name says, allows you to take a quick memo, include a shot, include a list, and include a voice memo if needed. Messages, Miro Nav is also here, My Files, which is a file manager, OneFootball, which is an application that delivers news about football teams, either globally or locally, depending on the regions, like Italy, England or Germany. And then we got FM radio, as you can see right here. We got photos, play books, play games, play music, play newsstand, play store, prepaid recharge, Radar Me, and finally the famous S Health is also here. So if you want to synchronize your smartwatch, you'll see here the pulse you last had, the steps you walked, the calories you burned, the kilometers you walked, how much sleep you've been getting, the UV rays that hit you recently, and basically everything you've been doing exercise wise. We got the S Planner calendar, an evolved version of the calendar. We got S Voice, weather. Steer pretty slow. And then we got Samsung Gear that we installed. We got Shazam, Studio, that takes care of your photo and video editing needs, with collages, shot and more, and video trimmer included. We got some more pre-installed apps like this one, and this one. Once again, they come from the carrier Telecom, so not your concern. We got voice search, wallet buzz, YouTube, and voice recorder, and that's basically it. As I said, quite a bit of bloatware on the Samsung Galaxy A5. It's time for the verdict, folks, right here at gsndon.com. So I will start with the pros. Obviously, this is a very nice design for a handset. It's slim, it's made of metal and glass, and it has a good battery. It has a very bright screen, especially for a mid-range, with perfect contrast. The camera will take good pics and excellent videos. This is a perfect piece of concert recording video gear. And I have to say the headphones that are bundled with it are quite good, and we got some nice power saving features. On the negative side, we got a pretty brick price for a mid-range. It's not exactly very loud, and you cannot take macros no matter how much you try, as you can see here. And the shots taken at the inside are pretty poor. The CPU is kind of weakened by the fact that it doesn't show its full potential. And then we got a bloatware. So overall, I'm going to give this phone a 9.3 out of 10 for design, a 9 out of 10 for hardware, and finally 9.3 out of 10 for OS and UI. The final grade is 9.2 out of 10. We dropped that 0.2 because of the huge price, and we're giving it a 9 out of 10 here at gsndon.com. Basically, it's an excellent mid-range phone for the young people who attend concerts and want to take some nifty videos, good pictures, have a good battery, and all of that bundled into a sexy metal body. So this is the Samsung Galaxy A5, 9.2 out of 10 right here at gsndon.com. Bye bye.